Today I have the first writing instruments of the company Aratrum here for you, with the name Calamus. We take a look at who the company Aratrum is and why, after more than 20 years, they have now brought out a writing set. And of course, we take a close look at the pens, all three of them. But first, the short intro. Hello, my name is Chris, and this is Writing Delight. In these tubes come the Calamus. Calamus, which is a ballpoint pen, rollerball, and fountain pen. And you can tell right away, they all have special characteristics. More than is often the case with other writing instrument series. We'll take a look at the writing instruments in detail in a moment. But the Aratrum company, which will mean absolutely nothing to most people, has put its experience into all the devices here and developed very special writing instruments, certainly with a few gimmicks. But they have become something special, for a special occasion. But more about that at the end. In any case, I would like to thank the company Aratrum very much, which has provided me with a set for the test and the review. First, let's take a closer look at the fountain pen. This is from the exterior quite simple and without a clip, but with a pin that prevents it from rolling away. The first thing that catches the eye is the ink window. Here you have a good view right away. And unlike many other ink windows, this one is milled lengthwise into the metal shaft. Underneath the Piston cap, we have a black nib. However, we don't really have a grip section here. We'll look at how well it is in the hand later. In addition to the cap with the pin, under which the nib is, the end of the shaft can also be unscrewed. Below that, the filling mechanism. Let's take a look at the details. The pin is embedded in the cap. On the back, we have the Aratrum logo, the open book with the feather. The black nib, in this case a medium nib, is marked with Schmidt iridium point. So here they have resorted to a standard nib without its own decoration. Which is not bad, of course, it's just a decoration. The nib itself, as we see here in the detail shot, is flawlessly made. Also the backside. Here once again is a pin, heavily rounded so it can act as a rollaway stop. But it won't bother you. One more look into the ink window. The wall thickness of the barrel can be seen very nicely. The finish is clean, as is the ridging in the front area and the varnish. You can see that the varnish here is not smooth but textured. This not only makes for a silky matte appearance, but also provides a slightly better grip. Let's move on to the rollerball. This one is completely out of the ordinary in terms of appearance. The front part is similar to the ballpoint pen, but the end is different. You can clearly see the refill. By the way, the clip goes under the front part when you open the pen. What looks strange is useful. This way, you can't accidentally clip the pen somewhere when it's open. As shown here with an ink cut. This cut prevents some accidents in which a pen is inserted with the mine extended. By the way, the end of the pen is not made of metal like the front part. If you push the mine forward a bit, you can bend the plastic a bit and thus remove the rollerball refill. And vice versa, of course, insert it. Strange, but for once an interesting way. The ballpoint pen is quite normal in shape. a ballpoint pen. You can tell. Opposite the pin on the barrel, we have the logo here as well. But the refill cannot be extended by pressing or turning the end of the pen. No. A so-called impulse mechanism is installed here. Once briefly and quickly moved forward, almost like shaking, and the refill is extended, or retracted again. The whole thing works flawlessly and easily. However, it was a bit difficult to do so here in front of the camera. The refill here is easy to change when you unscrew the end of the pen. There's a small refill inserted here, actually. Let's move on to the grip. The fountain pen doesn't really have a grip section underneath the cap, but ideally you hold the pen by the ridge zone at the beginning of the barrel. That works perfectly. Since you can't put the cap on the end of the barrel, the pen isn't very long, but usable. The rollerball also feels good in the hand, whether in the retracted or extended state. The clip here doesn't interfere, but this pen is not the longest either. The ballpoint pen feels similar to the rollerball in the hand. Since this is now completely made of metal, it is a little heavier in the hand, due to the shortness, but not really heavy. Let's move on to the writing sample. The nib of the Aratrum Calamus fountain pen glides smoothly over the paper. You can see that it writes relatively wet, but can also produce a nice line variance. The fountain pen is filled with the ink diamine writer's blood. The ballpoint pen also writes pleasantly. The refill used is not overly light writing, but still good to use. The rollerball writes pleasantly soft and just glides over the paper. Let's take a look at the size comparison. First of all, a comparison with each other. Here we have the fountain pen, ballpoint pen and rollerball, and we can clearly see the differences here. These are also clearly present in the length. This becomes relative when the cap is removed from the fountain pen. But comparing the fountain pens, here we have the Calamus with the Visconti Homo sapiens, a Stettler Tri Plus 474, a Platinum Procyon, a Waldmann Liberty, and a Lamy Safari. When closed, the Calamus is on par with the normal length pens. With the cap removed, however, it becomes significantly smaller. In the second size comparison, we have it here together with the Lamy 2000, a Waldmann Commander, an Online Bohemian Art, a Kaweco Student, and a Kaweco AL Sport. Here we have a similar picture. Thanks to the postable cap, the Online Bohemian Art and the Kaweco AL Sport even overtake the Calamus. But I must say the fountain pen writes excellently. The wet nib is very pleasant, even if the pen is rather short. For long text therefore only partly suitable for me, but generally writing with it is very pleasant. Also the hand position is fine. Yes, it has no special grip zone, but the ribbing is very practical to hold the pen. The appearance is not absolutely striking, still it is unusual. The recessed ink window, which is not as often the case across but along the pen. You can see the ink quite well here. And also the missing clip, whose function is taken over by the pin. The bottom line is that this is actually a piston fountain pen. Because, as far as I know, the ink converter is permanently installed, whereby it is then actually no longer a converter, but Aratrum talks about it being an ink converter here. I like the fountain pen a lot. The nib is very comfortable. Also the line variants that can be produced. Okay, there's a standard nib installed, but in black. A custom design would be nice, of course, but also would have made the pen much more expensive. And it is certainly not necessary for this project. The ballpoint pen is quite normal in appearance, without clip but with pin, so far still normal. But this impulse mechanism is nice. It works well, and by the way, very reliable, prevents accidental opening. No button that is pressed by mistake. In normal writing practice, this is also not a problem once you have the principle figured out, and that goes quickly. Unfortunately, only a thin refill is installed. But a large capacity refill would again mean a larger pen, which would then break the similarities to the other pens even more. The rollerball takes some getting used to, from the looks. The use is problem-free. The tiny detail with the locked clip in the open state I find really good. They have been thought of something great. I don't believe that this feature is a coincidence. The fact that the rear barrel is made of plastic is strange. Okay, changing the refill wouldn't work with metal, but it seems strange at first. But in use, of course, it is without problems. All in all, you can say that these pens are worth paying attention to. They are good writing instruments, all with at least one special detail, which you don't usually find that way, and all at a really good price. But you shouldn't necessarily be surprised. We have here a pen series of the company Aratrum before us. Even if this name doesn't mean anything to you, I know the company already for a few years. Aratrum sees itself as a marketplace of writing culture, and certainly not without good reason, because it is a distribution company that sells some well-known brands. The two best-known brands here are certainly Platinum and Kaweco. In addition, Aratrum is not a newcomer in the field. For over 20 years this company exists and sells writing instruments. Actually, Calamus was intended for the 20th anniversary, but then it took a little longer. But you can see this experience a little bit in the pens. They are well thought out pens, with special features of course, but clearly a company was at work here that has an understanding of the subject. And I'll be honest, I'm glad that Aratrum has brought out these pens. Now it's not the pens of the Romans after all, which is more or less what Calamus means, but they are modern and excellent usable writing instruments, whether it is a fountain pen, ballpoint pen or rollerball. I hope Aratrum doesn't wait another 22 years until they release another series. Because if the company Aratrum should choose to do so here, it could certainly bring more very interesting and good writing instruments on the market. How do you like the pens? Do you find the special details good or more playful? I would be very interested to know. Thank you very much for watching. Many thanks to the Aratrum company for the test sample. I hope you enjoyed the review. And you already know the game. A thumbs up always makes me happy. A subscription even more. Feel free to comment as well. All this also helps the channel to be easily found. Thank you. See you next time.